Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots all net, all vets. Bumps we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting all magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and developments like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, here the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guest. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Bless.
TV.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots all net, all vets. Bumps we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting all magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, here the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guest. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Blast.
TV.
Peace to the family, peace to you, yours. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Welcome, 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 welcome to another episode of What the F Wednesdays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host, Brother Red Pillar, reporting live and direct. And that song you just heard, ladies and gentlemen, that is Theta Waves, featuring the Twin Pillars. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, how are we doing today on this beautiful Wednesday? Happy Hump Day to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody in the building pulling up and whatnot. I see y'all pulling up. Shout out to all of y'all. All right, let's go. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start out with this roll call, and then we're gonna get into this. We're gonna get into the show tonight. We got a good show with a good topic. This is a part 2 of a part 1 that we did last week. And lo and behold, the conversation will continue. It must continue, and it has continued. And we're going to approach this conversation with as much tenacity as we approached the first one. Part 1 is a classic. If you didn't catch it, go and check it out, please. I beg of you. You know what I'm saying? Go catch up to what's going on. I believe it was the last Wednesday that we did this. All right. So let's go ahead and let's do the shout out with everybody. Let's see who's in the building and whatnot. We have Kansas City, Missouri in the building. We got Chicago in the building. We got Columbus, Ohio in the building. We got the south side of Houston. Let's do this. When you give a shout out about your city, when you give us, because I'm not in all places at once, right? Let me know if the black children in your city are in danger. You feel me? Let me know if the black children in your city is in danger. Put next to your city the number 1, so we will know that you are tapping in from a place where you domicile, where you could relate to the situation that we'll be talking about tonight, right? Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to talk to an audience where this doesn't even matter to them. You feel me? They want to talk about something different. I don't want to address the wrong audience. You feel me? I want to talk to my people who could relate to what the hell is going on out here. Shout out to Rich City, Virginia, Birmingham. We call it Birmingham Veg. DMI, Iowa, DMV. I heard Honeycomb Brazy said Birmingham is crazy. Them niggas out there is murdering shit. Indianapolis, Detroit. We got Mississippi. All right, so here we go. Florida. All right, DMV. We got Cleveland with the 1, DC with the 1, Louisville with the 1. You know what I'm talking about? Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Fort Worth. Dallas with the 1, Iowa with the 1, Cleveland with the 1, Orlando. We got Miami with the 1, Dallas again with the 1. Washington Heights to the ATL with the 1. The Asiatics in my city are major damage and are getting killed by commercial missionaries. Broward County with the 1. Richmond with the 1. You know what I'm talking about? Bmore with the 1. New Orleans with the 1. Spring, Texas with the 1. San Antonio. All right. USA, Virgin Islands, and ATL. The gas. Yeah. So 407 with the 1. Columbus, Ohio with the 2. Okay, Les Wexler holding y'all down. I get it. I'm a father of 3. Let's just start that off. I'm pretty sure if you are tapped in, if you consider the KTLian, you're familiar with my situation and whatnot. I got 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl. Each one of them are in the age demographics of these children that are in somewhat of a dangerous situation. I got an 18-year-old. He's in college right now. Okay, he goes to college. I got a 12-year-old. Okay, she is not in college. She's in Texas. Then I have a 6-year-old, and he's of that 6-year-old age. He's a COVID baby, right? He comes from that era, the 2020 babies. And these children, the new ones that just came in, they were being threatened from the gate. Like they were being, their lives were at stake from the door, because they were trying to stick those babies from the gates, right? And they were trying to get those children, you know what I mean? They were trying to poison them and whatnot. And then they went ahead and went after the 12 and the 13-year-olds, and they tried to poison them and the 18-year-olds. They were after all of our children, y'all, right? This is just a chemical assault. And then we had the rise of drill culture. I would say that it significantly spiked in 2020, right? It became a global phenomenon, right? More of a global. It was regional, then it went national, then it went global, right? And that was another layer of quote unquote danger that just popped out of nowhere. You feel me? And began to affect a lot of the messiahs. I call them the messianic tribe, the chosen ones. You feel me? The ones who are considered to be the rainbows, the indigos, and the star seeds. So when you see that picture right there with Trayvon Martin, I have not really a theory, but a theorem, right? Part of my quote unquote, if I were to put out a paper, like a dissertation, a great part of my research and my study, right, would be around Trayvon Martin. That case affected me in ways that, it still, it was a catalyst. It affected me in a way where it pushed me into being a catalyst, right? My daughter was born right around that time. And, I saw what it did to our people, right? I stayed on top of it, and I did some real vigorous research on the whole situation. And, it was what it was. But what I realized, and then remember, this is around the time of the rise of Chief Keef, because I was documenting that as well. So coincidentally enough, and I always point this out, around the same time when the entire nation was in uproar, Black people and their allies and everybody who's sympathetic to our plight, right? At the same time when there was an uproar and there was all of this marching going on, and there was all of this, we care about our children, and people wearing hoodies, and they were performing to their trauma, right? Around the same time, Interscope Records was securing a record deal for a young upstart out of Chicago, right, who was on house arrest in his grandmother's house for shooting at the police, right? And he was on house arrest. He was on probation. And then he also had rumors hanging over his head about killing another young rapper who was at that time and I could be, I'm not from Chicago, so y'all let me know if I am accurate in this in what I'm saying and whatnot. But when they killed, what's my dude name? Lil Jojo. I believe Lil Jojo was more popular or had more buzz or was a little more hotter in Chicago than Chief Keef at that time. I could be wrong. You know what I mean? Y'all let me know if y'all from the Chi and whatnot. Lil Jojo had a lot of motion, right? Little Jojo had a wave and whatnot. And Chief Keef, it was rumored that, you know, Chief Keef and them had something to do with that, right? So I'll bite all of that. He gets signed to a record label to the tune of about $6 million, right? Mind you, this was the same time that our people were marching, crying, emoting, and talking about, am I next? Hands up, don't shoot. You know, all of this passive shit, right? All of this passive shit that they was going through and whatnot. They were literally bowing down. They were taking a knee for George Zimmerman. I mean, when you look back at it, it's the most embarrassing. It's the most defeating. It's the most weakest display of black power that I've ever seen in my entire life. Facts. It was that case where everything started to go bad. Not to say the shit was going bad before that, but it was that case that set us off on this path where we became the hunted rather being the hunters and whatnot. It was this case that kicked off the quote unquote nonstop aggression against black boys and girls by our open enemies and whatnot. It was this case that somewhat put our people in this numbed out state. It numbed our people psychologically to whereas when the murders started happening amongst black children against black children and it was being celebrated on fucking black Twitter and whatnot, nobody had anything to say for damn near 10 years. There was no pushback to the Chicago drill scene for about 10 years. From 2012 leading up to like 2022, nobody was really saying a goddamn thing. But then Pop Smoke gets killed. You know what I'm saying? A few other rappers get knocked off and whatnot. Then we start hearing all of this. It's too much violence going on. It's too much violence. In 2017, if my numbers are correct, there was over 250 rappers that got killed. YouTube rappers, that is, SoundCloud rappers. It wasn't the mainstreams and whatnot. And then DJ Academics comes along with the war in Chirac, right? The war in Chirac was literally a super viral YouTube account, right? A blow-by-blow account, a body-by-body account of all of the murders that were taking place. But the way that DJ Academics had approached it, I mean, you know, you see his style right now. You see that he's a clown. You see that he is a troll and whatnot. You see that he really doesn't care. He doesn't have a vested interest into the plight of American blacks. I'm just saying, it is what it is, right? He's a Poindexter. So he literally was taking the plight or the genocide of melanated babies. These are babies. They not even heavier than a gun. Some of these little niggas was lighter than the weapons that they were carrying. And DJ Academics basically, you know, he did what he exploited them. Right? So the new era of black exploitation took place in Chicago. That was the new era. That's why Nick Cannon's bird ass, he tried to exploit it with the movie Chirac. That's black exploitation. That wasn't a documentary. That wasn't a real drama. Nigga, that was black exploitation. He was making fun of them. Was it Nick Cannon or was it Spike Lee? Which one was that? Somebody made that horrible ass movie and whatnot. You know? So Trayvon became a sacrifice that black people spit on. And take that fucking hoodie off and go ahead and throw them Skittles away. Because one thing, beyond, I'm not even going to use Chief Keef. Y'all didn't body George Zimmerman. Y'all ain't do nothing to George Zimmerman. You ain't put one finger on him. So for people, right, and I've always painted this picture and let you know how other people perceived you and whatnot, because you was on the internet, you was on wax, and you was in the face of the world trying to act like you was tough. That was your thing. You said that your nuts dragged and you was tough, black man. That was your message. That's how you message yourself around the world, that you was about that life. They got people copying you in Africa. They wearing colors and shit. You know what I'm talking about? They want to have ice grills. They want to be hard and everything. But when it came down to it, you tucked your tail. You wasn't about that life. And you took the biggest L and the biggest hit to your persona and to your image that the world has ever witnessed, right? Henceforth, while they put hands and feet on you around the world, even when you go on vacation, you get packed up. You going around the world, you getting packed up. They wasn't doing that before. You feel me? They respected you. But I use this example to paint the picture that I'm going to move on, right? And I don't condone any of this shit, but I condone people standing on what the fuck they say that they are, because authenticity is a superpower. So check this out. John Gotti is an American Italian mobster who lives in Queens. He lived in Queens. He's dead now. God, good, you know what I mean? Good riddance, right? He's a mobster who took over the Gambino crime family and knocked off his boss and whatnot, and, you know, assumed control. He was a YN at that point, right? I tell people like this. If anybody remembers what happened, and no, I'm not going to use that example, but yeah, John Gotti knocked off Paul Castellano at the Sparks, became the leader, became the big dog and everything. But that act right there of knocking off a made boss, a big dog, right? He basically sent the signal across the whole entire world, to the Albanian mafia, to the Russian mafia, to the Jewish mafia, to the triads, the Japanese, to all mafias, that I am not to be fucked with. And this is going to be a new era of, you know, niggas that keep it real, right? We're not doing it like the old bosses. We're ultra violent. So at his house one day, his 5-year-old was in the driveway, right, inside of his house in Queens. Queens has a lot of houses, is known for their housing and their real estate. And his neighbor was backing out on the driveway and ran his son over, killed him. Little Johnny Jr. and whatnot. Ran his son over and basically unalived him. So in the face of the world, in the face of other mobsters who were still tight about him knocking off Paulie Castellano, the fact that he violated and killed the man that had a button and whatnot, they were like, any sign of weakness, we come in with, you know, because at that point, he was giving off this persona that he was somewhat untouchable. He was called a Teflon Don, and he had Sammy the Bull and a bunch of shooters, right? So they was like, you know, this is a wild boy and whatnot. We don't really want to fuck with him. But then his son gets killed. So it was all eyes on John Gotti at that point, because now your ass got a, you know, now it's either you selling wolf tickets or you about that life. Even though when the neighbor runs over your child, the police, the DA, and everybody is going to be looking at you like, try it. Go ahead. We already know what you think you're going to do. But if you do it, because we've been putting you on trial and you've been beating it, we know we're going to get you on this one. What did John Gotti do? He said, my reputation supersedes the penalty. Penalty of going to jail is nothing compared to the penalty of losing my reputation that I spent all of these years building up and whatnot. I'll take the charge. And he whacked his neighbor. Got the neighbor whacked right away. And neighbor got whacked immediately. And what did that do? That established all of the motherfucking wolf tickets that he was selling. And the rest of the mafias around the world, they said, shit, that's what we would have did. And it was carry on, business as usual. And they went about their business, and they didn't even pay that any attention anymore. But had he not did it, had he not stood on what he called his business. Now, once again, This is his business. It's not my business. I'm not a mobster. I'm not in the mafia. I'm not out here selling wolf tickets like I'm big and bad and I'm doing all. But I tell you this. And I say this shit on YouTube or anywhere where it doesn't matter. A father is going to be a father. And that goes without you. I don't need no interpretation. You know what that means. We here to protect. We're not here to paint our fingers. We're not here to get pedicures and manicures and get cute and everything. We're not here to live the soft life. We're men. We're here to protect. That's what the women chose us for. So if you if you cross that line and you violate one of mine, right, and you do something wrong to mine, especially in front of me, what are we talking about? So he stood on all 10 and he did what he did. When Trayvon got knocked off in Florida, the home of Rick Ross, the home of Trick Daddy, the home of Gunplay, the home of Plies, the home of all of these raggedy ass, fake ass niggas, Kodak Black and all of that. What did they do? They ain't did nothing. They ain't say nothing. They ain't rap about nothing. They didn't even dedicate a bar to this young man. And when they ran through all of the music that he was listening to, he was listening to all of these niggas. That was their son. And his dad, who's a Mason, who I wound up seeing one day at a hotel and whatnot, he ain't do nothing. He ain't do nothing. He ain't put no pressure. With all of them barbecuing ass Mason niggas in Florida, them sandal wearing barbecuing ass niggas, they didn't do nothing. The stocks took a crash as a result of the fuckery, because you niggas went and turned into some soft life ass niggas, started wearing hoodies and shit. You started getting all docile. You started getting all fucking weak and everything. This wasn't even the police that killed this little nigga. This wasn't even a popo. This was George Zimmerman. This was a fuck boy. And y'all let him ride on that boy. And then he was out there signing Skittle bags, selling his guns, signing Skittles. He was signing guns. He was signing hoodies. He went to jail like 4 times after that. Nobody cut him. Nobody shanked him. Nobody did nothing. So I'm just sharing with you the cycle of nonviolence. I'm just sharing with you the cycle that confused everybody that was looking, because everybody was like, nah, they don't remember. People on the outside looking in, they don't know that we not all related. They don't know that we not all related. They think that we all related. You touch one, you touch all. That's how it used to be. When the village was intact. You touch one, then you touch all of us. You take one of ours, you lose 3 of yours. That was the old school way. I don't know. My dad and them was telling me about it. I was not born into eras like that. Like I said, post 1973, I cannot account what happened to black people. It seems as if they got put to sleep. I don't know what happened. But I know when I look at those pictures of Huey P and all of them, they don't match the same energy of the niggas that I saw at the disco and whatnot, wearing feathers and wearing tight leathers. You know what I'm talking about? And wearing gazelles and stuff. Like those dudes was looking compromised back in the days compared to what the fuck they was on when they was wearing afros. You know? So the Trayvon Martin, I call it the Trayvon effect, right? The Trayvon effect has reared its ugly head far too many times over the past decade, right? Trayvon is 2012, February 2012, and here we are in 2026. I could go through about 30 names of people who have subsequently, met their demise as a result, of at the hands of them people, Hold on 1 minute. Yeah. So let's get into this situation of where we are fast forward in 2026, where we continue to unpack things that shouldn't even be getting unpacked, but because we on this timeline and because decisions were made in 2012 where our people decided to be docile. Our people I don't know why they didn't know, but they didn't realize the extent of what the fuck was happening. They didn't see that case as the most significant case of this time. They didn't give it enough credit, but they put all of their energy and looch into it. They put all of their spirit into it. You had grandmothers and grandfathers and uncles and aunties and everything talking about, I am Trayvon. Oh, is that right? Is that you're Trayvon? Okay, all right, cool. Got him. Niggas wearing hoodies, holding Skittle bags and all of that stupid shit, like Law. And then got the nerve to act tough after that. So what happened in Black America? The murders went crazy because, of course, niggas are cowards. And what do they wind up doing? Hurting each other. They wasn't trying to hurt nobody else. Yeah, all of this happened underneath Obama, by the way. While he was bombing Africans, killing Gaddafi, you feel me? Ramping up the Batiman agenda. You feel me? Strengthening and empowering the soft life of Black men, right? Or while all of that was happening, we were being neutered as a people. They were pouring ice cold buckets on us, right? They were taking our fire from us. They were cloning us. We was getting washed up in so many different ways, but our people was underneath that Obama spell. Thank you, Troy. That is a fact. I remember the beginning of the ritual. It was they executed an innocent man named Troy Reed in Atlanta. Remember that? Remember him? Remember Troy? Dark-skinned brother? Killed his ass? Executed him? And then Black people put all of this heart in him. Oh my goodness, don't kill him. That's our friend. We love him. He's innocent. Don't do it. I'm going to prove he's innocent. And they killed him. And then right after they killed him, that's when the Trayvon thing happened. Because I remember being in Atlanta. I was at the rally and niggas was pulling Skittle bags out. You feel me? We was at the Troy rally and they was out there neutering us, right? Because they brought some religious dudes to come and talk to us. People was riled up. They was ready to do something. And they brought the politicians and the boule out. And I seen Black people get neutered in real time. They start pulling out bags of Skittles and eating them. Real talk. And it's just been going crazy ever since. It's just been going crazy ever since. So this is a spiritual war, ladies and gentlemen. This is a war on higher principalities. This is a psyop. This is not a regular conflict. Situations with Carmelo Anthony is always going to, the situation with Cyrus and whatnot. If we understand how a spell is casted, if we understand how people get put in a pot as a collective, you can't get out of that pot. You will always be triggered until you do something and break the pot. You're always going to get your buttons pressed. You're always going to get triggered. You're always going to get your energy harvested from these people who have expertly put a fucking spell on our people to a degree where it's almost like they have us locked in. You want to talk about prison planet? They have us in a box right now. Imagine how many aunties died. Imagine how many people died from heart attacks, cancer. Do you know what cancer comes from? Breast cancer, lung cancer, all of these cancers, all of these heart attacks, all of these strokes, all of that comes from shit like this. No justice, no peace. And running around with them dumbass slogans and whatnot, just casting spells on yourself, working on your calves at those marches and shit like that. But after the march, you go eat some greasy food, or you go drink some motherfucking or you go smoke some drug, you take some drugs to numb your pain and whatnot. You go eat some fucking some processed foods and whatnot to get away. You know what I mean? You know, eat yourself to death. The dis-ease that America is putting our people under through subtleties and whatnot is conflicting us. And then when C-19 happened, everybody with the preconditions, they got washed. When the C-19 happened, people were already conditioned because they were going through all of the stress of Philando Castile, Alton Sterling. Y'all say some of the names with me, because after Trayvon Martin was a flood of quote unquote, and you cannot call them, there was only about 4 or 5 martyrs. And what is a martyr? A martyr is, if you kill me, I'm killing a few of them. There was martyrs on our side, but nobody even recognizes them as martyrs. So Dallas on 7/7/7, July the 7th, 2016. Mika Johnson, or they call him Mika X, 5 police in Dallas, out of here. Then you had in Baton Rouge, dude named Cosmo Settenra, right? He took the popo out, took about 3 of them out. And he said the name specifically, I'm doing this for this person. I'm doing this for this person. I'm doing this for that person. Okay? So they got martyred. Right? Sandra Bland, Michael Brown. All of that is a part of the Trayvon factor. That's all a part of the Trayvon factor. It's all one pot. Okay? So those people, some of them got martyred and some of them were just straight up victims. Right? And the stress from our people having to go through that, Tamir Rice, Ahmaud Arbery, rising power to each and every one of them. May they all live in eternity, right? I think it was Terrence Clutch. He got bodied in Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? The same place where Black Wall Street was celebrating, I think, their 99th or 98th anniversary. This man was a pastor. Okay, Philando Castile got bodied on camera with his wife in the car. So I'm like, our people had preconditions leading up to C-19 because melanated people, especially Black women, they carry all of that in their heart. They see these babies as their babies. How can't they? Our people have the most compassion of anybody on this goddamn planet. You feel me? Black women, Black grandmothers, Black aunties and whatnot, Black mothers and whatnot. They're able to look at a child and still have that compassion activated because they see them as their own. I don't know about no other race because I ain't from no other race. So I ain't finna be talking about no other race. God damn it. If that's your race and that's how they get down, then nigga go live. Go live and talk about them. Because I don't know about nobody else's race. I ain't been around them long enough. I don't know how they get down. Freddie Gray, Sandra Bland, motherfucking Darren Seals. That has taken a toll on the energetic, subtle body of our people, fam. Those of us that fucking care, that is. Those of us that are not in a zombie state, that is. Bought them gene. The police walk right in and body him in his own apartment. So when you want to talk about conspiracy, right? The word conspiracy is conspire, right? They have been conspiring for time immemorial against our people. There's a secret plan made by two or more people to do something unlawful, harmful, or dishonest. Let me repeat what exactly conspiracy is. Conspiracy means a secret plan made by two or more people to do something unlawful, harmful, or dishonest. A legal meaning of a conspiracy is an agreement between people to commit a crime, and the general meaning is a secret plot or a scheme against someone or something. So if they come and grab people for conspiracy all of the time, then why are they not grabbing up all of these people in Texas, Louisiana, Georgia, Virginia, all of these quote unquote white people who conspire against these black children all the time? I mean, there's goddamn unlimited hours and hours of police recordings where they were catching them on tape talking about conspiring against our children. They conspiring against us on Twitter every day. I mean, even goddamn the owner of Twitter has some type of conspiracy in his heart. What is his name? Elon Muskie, Elon Dusty, right? They all conspire. That's what they do. That's what they do. You can't tell me that they're not somewhere in some goddamn rooms and whatnot conspiring against our children. They just had a whistleblower come out and talk about, yeah, they out here plotting on people based off of their blood type, based off of their DNA, based off of they have quote unquote Henrietta Lacks hella cells. They out there stalking niggas. And they try to throw conspiracy like it's a conspiracy theory on some UFO shit. No, not at all. We talking about the conspiracy that they used to jam our people up with. There's a conspiracy amongst white people, first and foremost. We could talk about other people after that. But in America, I don't give a fuck who you are listening to this show at the end of the day. You could be off-white, you could be gray, you could be white, you could be clear, you could be pink, whatever the color you identify with. You know what I'm talking about. If you tapped in to Know the Ledge, my nigga, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. Facts. You got to stand around and tuck your tail and act like, you know what I mean? You heard that shit before. It might be at your dinner table. It might be in the backyard. It might be at a bar. It might be when you in the car. But you done heard motherfuckers conspire against us. You know what I mean? We don't sit around talking about white boys and conspiring against them. We don't sit around talking about white girls and white people. That's not what we do. Unless there's an organization that's actively sitting around conspiring against them. We got too much shit going on in life to talk about y'all. We literally have too much shit going on positively. We too lit to worry about y'all. The only time we bring y'all up is because y'all on our fucking tail bothering us. Y'all are out here, you know what I'm saying? Y'all some bugaboos. Y'all always trying to get our energy from us. That's the only reason we even pay y'all. I wish we could collapse the wave and completely ignore y'all, bro. Because first and foremost, you're on our fucking land. Facts. I feel like kicking all of y'all out of your houses and packing you up. Y'all are on our land, so don't ever in your goddamn pale-faced life act like, yo, why do Red Pill be talking like that? Because you're not in your proper place, fam. You're just not in your proper place. And I know that the USA is supposed to be a melting pot, but y'all got this shit completely messed up. You're on our land. I'm one of those niggas who know about that. You feel me? So there will never be peace, my nigga, until you get packed up. The fuck you talking about? You won't hear me rallying against the aliens. You're the biggest alien on this planet. Because the way that you came up in this bitch, the way that you invaded, it was abnormal. You know what I'm talking about? Hold on 1 minute. Yeah, so let's get to these videos and whatnot. Check this shit out.
See this shit? They got this shit in plain sight. Motherfuckers tan just to get darker. Go on vacation and get braids. They did say you are what you eat. Fuck, I ain't know they wanted to be us that bad. These vampires been eating us since Jesus' slippers. When you dive into the cult of Baal, you discover the cannibalistic rituals they partake in.
So if you see that book right there, that is Bobby Hemmett. Bobby Hemmett wrote the foreword. I got that book right in my bookshelf. Right? I got that book right in my bookshelf. And KFC, this to show you. KFC literally took the picture of that book and put it in an ad, yo. This is who we dealing with. They went and took Bobby Hemmett's book about white Luciferians, how they be eating people and stealing our loot and everything, and they made a whole entire ad about it.
Communion, eat this bread as his body and this wine as his blood? The fuck? They put melanin in cell phones. You can't imagine what it do to these vampires when they puts a fucking battery in their back. Dracula 2.0. These monsters said, we dodge in the sun, but we want that soul food. Sick fucks. The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. I get that. But deep fried niggas?
Man. So now they over there across the pond acting a fucking fool back on a race riot shit. Right? And once again, for all of y'all to be tripping and whatnot, nigga, they don't give a fuck where you from. They don't distinguish between imported nigga and native nigga. Niggas is niggas. Okay? So they back on that bullshit. They over there in Europe trying to burn niggas at the stake and whatnot. Over in Ireland, right? Where they have anti-nigga gripes because the Irish over here, they over, you know what I mean? You see what they done did. You see how they flipped over. You see how they are literally wooden soldiers for the system now and whatnot. So over there in Ireland, where they ran our people out back in St. Patrick's days and whatnot, where they genocided the Twa, they back on the bullshit.
Very confused about what's going on. First of all, these people are not Irish, or at least they don't identify as Irish. They don't call themselves Irish. They don't believe that they live in Ireland. They are British loyalists, loyal to the King of England. They are living in what they consider to be British territory in Northern Ireland. The second thing is that this is not the same as when protests or riots even erupt in England. This is action that is sanctioned and directed by community leaders. Those of us who grew up here or who have spent any real time in Belfast, when they saw the flyer yesterday advising of the road closures, they knew exactly what was going to happen last night. See on the bottom of the flyer, there is a sentence that gives it all away, and the sentence says, all businesses are to close by 5:30 p.m, no excuses. So this is not a suggestion from a group of protesters, this is an order from community leaders. So whilst the streets of Belfast were full of masked men and youths hunting people of colour on the streets of Belfast last night, burning out cars and houses, attacking people in their homes, having small children fleeing into the back of police Land Rovers to escape attacks from inside their own community. There were also many people in Belfast hunkered down, hiding in their homes. There are many people in Belfast who do not support this, do not condone it, and would denounce it if they felt safe to do so. Despite that sort of unsaid threat, there is a responsibility in these communities to call out this behaviour and to say not in our name. I grew up in East Belfast, and the racism that is embedded in some of those communities is nothing new to me. It's part of a hangover of occupation and invasion of the British into Ireland. I cannot imagine what it's like to be living in East Belfast right now. Absolutely horrifying and terrifying to witness. Solidarity with everybody in Belfast who was fearing for their lives last night. Absolutely horrendous carry on.
Yeah.
Yes, 1 in 3.
So, on another note, just to share the premise of today's show and the title and what we're talking about, because, you know, as a result of this gender war that they throwing on us, everybody wants to separate our struggle and whatnot. But I'm not here trauma bonding and shit like that. Like that's not my thing. I don't have to trauma bond to get people's attention and to teach and whatnot. But I do want to say that our women are in danger and whatnot. And once again, as a protectorate, it is up to us to really start pushing the envelope. Like we really got to put our feet down when it comes to what they're doing to our women inside of these medical facilities and whatnot, and our men. But the violation is happening to our women inside of the operating room. It has to be addressed. We have to stand on this shit. We need to ring the effing alarm. These babies are in danger, getting pulled out of stomachs and whatnot, like they was doing our people back in slavery. That C-section shit is a scam. It's not, it's a scam, y'all. I promise you. Check this out.
They're born this way. Some hospitals have up to an 80% C-section rate. If you're planning on giving birth in a hospital, you should call. Well, first thing, you shouldn't. But if you have to for some reason, find out what their percentage of C-section rate is, and you're going to be in that percentage. One of the things that happens is that the white blood cells remain altered into adulthood. And when babies are born via C-section, they have permanently higher baseline risks for lifelong chronic ailments, put it that way. Who would have thought skipping the natural birth process? But here's the thing. They say that it is, like many women today have had a C-section, right? And they're like, oh, the doctor saved my baby. Not knowing, unfortunately, that there's a million different things that they can get you on in a hospital to then result in a C-section. The first step would be Pitocin, then an epidural. Then the epidural is like, just C-section me. It's shocking, man. And Japan has like no C-section rates. They're not having enough babies though. But, you know, you got to find out that this is a shocking rabbit hole. It is a...
Yo, the epidural. Oh my goodness. When I seen the size of that fucking needle, bro, and they said that they was going to do a spinal tap, I said, what the hell is a spinal tap? I thought that was a movie or rock and roll shit. It's like, yeah, we about to put a spinal tap. And the needle looked like they was about to put a horse down. Man, my heart goes out, yo. The things that our women got to go through just to bring life into this world. Something that's supposed to be, quote unquote, one of the most heartfelt moments of both parents' lives, right? What they call a Kairos moment. If you want to go and look that word up, go and look up Kairos, Kairos. A Kairos moment is literally a moment in time where time freezes because of the enormity of the moment. Because of the enormity of the moment, they have something called a Kairos moment. But that Kairos moment gets interrupted when we have complications. That Kairos moment gets interrupted when they pull out a fucking a horse tranquilizer needle and stick it in your spine. Right? They're interrupting something that is divine and sacred for a motherfucking check. They're interrupting something that is divine and sacred, the baby coming through the birth canal, for a damn check, y'all. For a check. That's how crazy things have gotten right now. It is literally a racket. They need a Rico in Harlem Hospital. It's a racket. Real talk. Let me bring it back.
Percentage. One of the things that happens is that the white blood cells remain altered into adulthood, and when babies are born via C-section, they have permanently higher baseline risks for lifelong chronic ailments, put it that way. Who would have thought skipping the natural birth process? But here's the thing. They say that it is, like many women today have had a C-section, right? And they're like, oh, the doctor saved my baby. Not knowing, unfortunately, that there's a million different things that they can get you on in a hospital to then result in a C-section. The first step would be Pitocin, then an epidural. Then the epidural is like, just C-section me. It's shocking, man. And Japan has like no C-section rates. They're not having enough babies though. But, you know, you got to find out that this is a shocking rabbit hole. It is a satanic plan 100%. Think about it. Old people, they get gimped with all these pharmas as they get older and they they lose their memory. They don't know what's going on. So they're trying to gimp you on the way out and on the way in. It's a shocking world, man. We got to wake up 100%. Now, look, we can't go back in time and un-C-section ourselves, but we should know this is part of the plan. And the million chemicals we're exposed to every single day that's causing infertility, causing low sperm count, sperm motility, and all this. It's absolutely wild. The microplastics, the pesticides, the heavy metals. If you think it's important to be detoxing and boosting your brain function, right now Chalk is giving away free $100 bags of organic heirloom cacao from Bolivia, the Chalk Lit Powder, which is super detoxing and delicious, plus it stimulates stem cell production.
I'm calling out Earth Angels specifically, the ones who came here with too much love, too much discernment, too much light, and somehow still kept giving sacred access to people who were never qualified to touch it. Like, this is the pattern nobody talks about. When toxic people meet an Earth Angel, they do not always attack immediately. At first, they study you. They mirror you. They feed off your softness. They make you feel like they finally understand you. And once they have access, they start testing how much of your light they can distort before you notice. They confuse you. They call you dramatic. They provoke you. Then judge your reaction. They drain you. Then act like you're the one asking for too much. They take your forgiveness as permission. Then punish you when your discernment finally wakes up. And this is where the pattern gets exposed.
I see a lot of people in the chat sharing some of their truths about their ordeals and whatnot, and I don't want to be callous and not give y'all your not talk to you. You know what I'm saying? When me and Blue were born in 1975, the technology that they have now, they didn't have it like that back then with like the 3D quote unquote ultrasounds and stuff like that. So my mother wasn't aware that she was having twins. You dig? And she had I was the first one. I was the first child to come. And she did not, they were ready to basically, the doctor was getting ready to go and eat donuts, and they were ready to, they had, you know what I mean? They was out. They was ready to, they was giving each other high fives, ready to pack it up. And my mother was like, no, there's another child here. And they was like, no, it's not. We didn't see that in the x-ray. And they thought that my mom's was tripping. They thought that she was just delusional. And literally Blue Pill was born breached. He shares this information. So I'm not telling none of his stories that he turned blue. He came out blue, and that was some of the complications that my mother had to go through and whatnot back in those days. And it has gotten considerably, as I'm seeing, it has gotten considerably worse and whatnot. I made it my business to be there for all three of the children's births and whatnot. We did not do the home births, unfortunately. All three of them were inside of these people's hospitals. But, I was there holding it down, projecting that energy, you know what I mean? That don't fuck with me energy. And every time everything worked out in a good way. It's just one epidermal out of the three, you know what I'm saying? And when I saw what it did, I was like, that shit had me upset. You know what I mean? I was like, hell nah, we gotta, you know what I mean? Something needs to happen. Because our women ain't have no epidurals back in the days, and they was pushing all them babies out. So something is happening, and we need to talk about it. It's not my place to talk about these things. I'm a father. As a father, I would love to have the convo, but for my mothers that are the doulas, you know what I mean? For the mothers who have gone through these ordeals and they had the trauma and they still dealing with it and whatnot, for the mothers who have more knowledge about this than I do, I would definitely welcome you on this platform so we could have these conversations and whatnot. Because for the mothers to be, for the mothers to be, for the fathers to be, and things of that nature, and for the mothers who already been through this and want to do it again, it is we probably would learn from one another. Who knows if there's somebody who could come through with some information that could benefit somebody in the future and whatnot, to avoid, you feel me, what is known, what is considered to be one of the most hostile environments for Black people, and that would be the hospital. You know, that would be the hospital. Unfortunately, the third leading cause of death is medical malpractice. Outside of being in the trenches and whatnot, and even being behind the wheel of a vehicle, it is the hospitals, unfortunately. Same place that prior to when they wasn't having us drinking out of their water fountains, they wouldn't even let our women give birth in their hospitals. But as you see, the attitude obviously is, well, if they're going to come into our hospitals and we got to help them into our hospitals, we finna kill them. We're going to take their organs from them. We're going to cut them up. We're going to kill them. We're going to poison them. We're going to do all of these things. You know? And if I'm tripping, I'm slipping, because that's the way I see it, you know, based off of what they allowed us to see. That's what I'm seeing. Let's talk about the Knicks. I need to pick up. No. Let's talk about the Knicks at the end. We're going to talk about the Knicks at the end. Let's get to it. Let's stay on top of this, the counter and the conspiracy. Let's get to that. I was going to open it up talking about the Knicks, but we'll close on that. All right. Brosy, you chill for a minute. I'm going to get to you in a minute, Brosy. Just chill.
13 elite families have been running this planet for hundreds, maybe thousands of years, in part by using... 13 elite families have been running this planet for hundreds, maybe thousands of years, in part by using magic and telling you that magic doesn't exist. So today, I'm going to expose a little bit of the magic that they use, and a huge misconception that everybody who thinks that they're in the know perpetuates. So let's refresh our memory about what magic is. The base of magic is that we are all perpetually co-creating the realities around us, right? And the basic idea is, if one can manipulate their mind, they can manipulate their reality. So let's break down the conspiracy, and I'll tell you how it actually works. So the idea, and I think this is one of the first conspiracy I ever heard 15, 20 years ago, was that the Illuminati or the evil cabal or whatever, you know, goes by many different names, has to, by karmic law, tell people what they're doing before they do it, which is why sometimes we see, you know, people say, like, you know, in The Simpsons, you know, The Simpsons are predicting things, or different TV shows or different mediums are predicting certain things or telling us certain things before they happen. And it's, you know, some sort of arbitrary karmic law that they have to follow. That's incorrect. Keeping in mind the definition that we just set up for magic, what's happening is the exact opposite. Here's the thing. If I wanted to accomplish a massive thing, a big thing, and I knew that all of us are co-creators in this reality, right? The easiest way for me to accomplish a large thing would be to implant the images and the ideas and the emotions into the minds of hundreds or thousands or millions of people in order to accomplish that thing, in order to bring that thing to light. The outrage happens in the news before it happens in the streets, right? The concepts start on the internet before they start in the streets, in reality, right? So in this way, they're using everyone's collective creative power to their own advantage and against yours.
Did y'all understand what he was saying?
You learn something every day. This is shocking news to me. I just established this. Do y'all know that the black...
All right, let's go.
Learn something every day. This is shocking news to me. I just established this. Do y'all know that the Black Divine Nine fraternities and sororities protect the richest white families that run the world? Check this out.
So from the Rothschilds to the Lee family are protected by the 9 Black Greek secret societies of Black fraternities and Black sororities. Well, in the 1969 book, The History of Sigma Pi Phi, Alpha Phi Alpha protects the Rothschilds. Kappa Alpha Psi protects the Oppenheimers. Omega Psi Phi protects the Warburgs. Phi Beta Sigma protects the Rockefellers. Iota Phi Theta protects the Astor family. Alpha Kappa Alpha protects the Bilderbergs. Delta Sigma Theta protects the Habsburg family that exists to this day. Zeta Phi Beta, another Boule secret society, protects the Sassoons. And Sigma Gamma Rho, RHO, protects the Lee family. Wait a minute now. So you have 9 Black Greek letter secret societies. And if you guys heard Kamala Harris when she was in Vegas during the campaign, to my Divine 9 sisters, what she's talking about, the Greek pantheon.
When you keep going down the rabbit hole, it just gets darker and darker and crazier. So it makes me think, the Black leaders that's a part of the frats and the women that's a part of the sororities, are they protecting the families as well too? Y'all follow me for more Truth Bombs and news and reactions on IG. Come over to the YouTube channel and subscribe.
So for some people, that's old news. But for others, that was something that they probably had no idea about. So when we talk about Boule, right, and you do the translation of that, that is the advisors to the king, okay? If there's, you know, if you ever wanted to ask the question, like, damn, who the fuck, who could be selling us out? If there is a Black nobility and whatnot, and there's some people behind the scenes who are literally in power or in some type of secret type of power, who would they be? Like, what would they look like? Who in our community? Because, you know, people will have you try to believe that there's some mysterious group of niggas, right, that are tucked away in Martha's Vineyards or somewhere that's literally running shit. Like they're dressed up like the butlers and whatnot, or they're the Uber drivers, but they're really running shit. No. That could be the case, but there's a layer of some people that are in our society that we can point out. They're not hidden. They're not hiding. They're not in Hyde Park and everything, even though we have segments of our people that are tucked away and whatnot. But no, there's some motherfucking traitors in plain sight, nigga. That would be those mega Black church pastors. That would be those Divine non-Negroes. That would be those Black caucus. That would be some of them damn Nigerians. It would be those type of people. And I only say the Nigerians because I seen the Pope kissing their feet. You know what I mean? And when you go to the UK and other places, you know, they cozy up to that, they cozy up to that power. They cozy up to the missionaries. They cozy up to the Epstein types. They were in Lords of London with them people. Real talk. They be with the Lords of London and all of them. You know? So they are raising our people up inside of these Soros and these frats to literally be advisors to the kings. Condoleezza Rice, Susan Rice, you know, that type of energy. Olivia Pope types. You smell me? What's the girl who was at the White House with Trump and whatnot? She was getting passed around from The Apprentice. Yeah, those types. You know, the Candace Owens types. Omarosa, the Omarosas of the world. Yeah. I mean, you could just look and tell that there's some people out there selling us the fuck out. And we always cozying up. But let's talk about the people we invite to the barbecue before we start talking about the actual barbecue chicken.
Man does the popular dance, the whoa, while reporting the weather. Comment section reads, Tom definitely invited to the cookout. Another video shows a white man dancing on stage and the caption reads, it's obvious why Mark is invited to the cookout, where we slide like black lightning across the backyard and turn it into a dance floor. The cookout be sacred, but ain't that just like us? Inviting everyone into our holy place is crazy. How all you gotta do is know how to Dougie to dodge accountability, wash white privilege out with a whip and a nay-nay, and they call it muscle memory. Cause they've been whipping nay-nay for centuries. Crazy how when we dance, we get called coons. But Brad dances and gets an honorary plate full of ribs. We keep feeding them like they didn't force chitlins down our throats. Keep dancing. They shuck and jive their way to acceptance, and it's appalling how easily we forget just because Becky can footwork and Allie makes foo-foo. Invitations to the cookout flying off the shelf in the comment section. Sis, do you remember when we invited one of them to our Bible study? And 9 of us were told well done that night. So excuse my caution for Caucasians casually crip walking for convenience, lying and line dancing, looking like a fool to cook out. Nigga, they used to cook us out over open fires.
Yeah, man. I don't mean to be a party pooper, but them cookout invitations this summer, they need to be reviewed. You know what I'm talking about? They need to go through a better review process, because come on now.
Is no one talking about what's really going down? U.S. and Israel military integration? Since when? Our media is so censored that I just found out yesterday, and you probably don't even know, Israel took the president of Ireland's sister hostage and tortured her.
So the people in Ireland are burning up cars, burning up homes. They probably burnt some black people up last night. More than likely, they caught somebody and they bodied them. They just not talking about it, right? But they said Israel took the president of Ireland's sister hostage and tortured her. They ain't right about that. They didn't start marching about that. They didn't make no big deal about that. Tommy Richardson and them, I don't see them doing nothing about that. But they got the people over there living in fear because one Somalian or something tried to cut the head off of an Irish man. I mean, shit happens. It goes down every day.
On camera! A month ago. Okay. So maybe you don't know about the massive protests against the ICE agencies that's going on in New Jersey because they're literally kidnapping and holding innocent people as hostages within their facility in inhumane conditions. A good 70% of those people don't even have a record. Why are they in there? 43 plus countries have suspended shipping goods to America. 43 plus. People from foreign nations are flying into our country and not being allowed access, even with all 100% perfect and accurate documentation. And the underage girls that are being detained in these ICE facilities are somehow turning up pregnant. And they're going to remove them from the facilities and transport them to an island where they can receive better care. Honey, there's only one way to impregnate anything human. And let's not forget Germany, Canada, Denmark, Spain, Mexico, UK, and Finland have all issued travel warnings to the US. Basically telling their people, don't take your ass over there or over here. These used to be political allies. We're in the dark. We're in the dark. America is the back rooms. It's the back rooms. This is Schitt's Creek, and we're up it.
You are doing your black children a disservice when you're not telling them that they have real enemies in this world. Real enemies that will take their life at 12 years old over a toy gun. That will take their life at 14 years old over a bottle of water that don't even cost $1. Y'all are doing them a disservice, sending them out into this world, not letting them know that there are people in this world who will never see you as children. You are doing them a disservice by sending them out into this world and not letting them know that there are systems in place that are working against them from the time that they are born. You should let your children know when they step outside this house, you are on defense, because you will always be seen as a threat and as a problem. Y'all not preparing them for that, and that's the problem. Y'all are teaching them love has no color, love is love. Okay, and a bullet don't have a name on it. Y'all should be preparing your children, letting them know that they do have enemies. Sometimes they look like them, sometimes they don't look like them, but they do in fact have enemies, because there are people in this world who will never see them as children and who will kill them in a blink of an eye.
I mean, folks was raising their youth, with the truth. How many folks was raising their youth with the mind state that maybe your parents or your peers or your elders raised you with? Because, I have heard parents post-Obama, tell these children lies to their faces, right? Trying to, create a reality that might not necessarily exist, right? There's what we call cognitive dissonance taking place. There's cognitive dissonance taking place because, once again, it was wild uncomfortable when Trayvon Martin happened. The parents had their foots in their mouth because here it is, they were teaching their little black boys and girls since 2008, right? That everything was post-racial. The America was healed. We've moved on. We shall overcome. We overcame. Remember all of that? And then when the whole thing happened with Zimmerman, niggas got their ankles broken and whatnot because they was on the court, right? And they got crossed over, and they was literally sitting there with broken ankles, and they were stuck. And then white boys start dunking on them and whatnot. They were stuck, broken ankles. They got crossed over. And they were stuck because they didn't know which way to go, because they had put all of their eggs in one basket. It had a lot to do with the what I would call the Christian or the religious opiate. Remember, they knocked Reverend Wright out the way. Remember, they pushed Reverend Wright, the radicalized preacher that was with Obama. They pushed Farrakhan and they pushed Reverend Wright, and niggas went happy-go-lucky. And it was basically a subtlety. You got to understand how politics, you got to understand how the media works. We don't understand how things work on our subconscious. We don't understand how things work on our subtle minds and our bodies. When they blocked out Reverend Wright, first it was Farrakhan, who was uber radical, according to white people, not us, according to the people that y'all want to get along with, the ones that y'all want to assimilate to, the ones that y'all wanted to sit at the fucking table with. When they got rid of Farrakhan, he was the more radical one. But then when they got rid of Reverend Wright, what were they telling us subliminally? What were they telling us in a subtle way? We will accept you, but you have to cure yourself of the radicalism. You cannot sit with us if you niggas is on that radical shit. So what was the sacrifice? Reverend Wright becomes the entirety of civil rights. He becomes the entirety of Black Power. He becomes the entirety of everything that we stood for, and they threw that nigga away, and then Obama got back on the stage smiling and beguiling and whatnot. And is that okay? Do you accept me now? And then they accepted his ass and then cut his balls off. And that's what we have, the Obama that didn't even look like the Obama that we was rallying for. I was selling the t-shirts, my nigga. I remember the nigga that I was selling on the t-shirts is not the nigga who showed up to the inauguration. Facts. I was at the inauguration and I was selling the t-shirts and the buttons, and I was looking at them like, fam, that's not the same person. He don't got the light no more. What happened to him? Not realizing that light that he had that we were seeing, it was the light of Reverend Wright. It was the light of a Farrakhan. He was shining because he had certain people attached to them. You can't shine if you got a bunch of boule niggas attached to you, because those are bloodsuckers. They are pulling your light. You cannot shine. You're not standing next to a star or a sun. They dim your light. They dim your light. So when they cut off anybody that he had to answer to, anybody that will hold him accountable, anybody that has some type of semblance of Black Power, that's when that shit went out the window, bro. But they didn't stop his ass from going and kissing that wall. They didn't stop his ass from going to kiss that wall in Tel Aviv, did they? No, they did not. He went up in an apartheid state and he kissed the fucking wall, but they didn't say nothing about that. So yeah, man. Yeah, man. We don't be realizing what they be doing. They neutered that man. But they also killed the whole entire movement and whatnot, to the point where even if you talk about it to your children, you now is a radical. They looking at you like, fam, you didn't see what happened to Reverend Wright? Why are you talking that Black Power shit? You want to get packed up? So in some ways, the children became almost conformed during Obama. They became conformed. They neutered them. These little melanated children running around talking about, I don't see color. Word. And then when Trayvon happened, everybody was so butthurt. They were so broken. They were so lost. They was sitting there with broken ankles because they got crossed over and whatnot. And they could not believe it that these white folks was making fun of a Black child because their mama told them that racism was over. Mama, what happened, mama? That's why you saw our people on that fake ass turn the cheek bitch ass shit where they was out there turning the cheek, marching, wearing shirt. Am I next? Playing hands up, don't shoot, and all of this dumb shit. Huh? All of this dumb shit, all of this weak shit, all of this conformity shit, all of this bootlicking shit, because they had already got neutered inside of their households by their mamas, by their fathers, and by Obama. So now when they start setting it off on them, motherfuckers don't even want to fight back. They don't even have no fight in them because they got defamed and they got domesticated and neutered only for this nigga to be a president and be a lame duck. Facts. Real talk. That's what happened. So when they bombed on us in 2012 with Trayvon, they didn't have no get back. Nobody had nothing for them. They didn't have no fire in their hearts. They didn't want to burn it down because they still believed in hope and a fucking dream. But hope is an opiate, my nigga. You get nothing out of hope. Like Black Dot said, nigga, hope is dope. Niggas is on dope. So to put us on lean and to put niggas on real opiates, it wasn't a far stretch because the babies was already doped out. That's why that's why I remember when Chief Keef and them come out in 2012 with the lean and whatnot, who gets on the dope? Babies. Teenagers is on dope, nigga, because they was already on the hope. They was already doped up from their president. He put them niggas to sleep. Dope, hope is an opiate. The fuck you walking around hoping for shit? You not making it happen? You not making it happen? Oh, you in hope mode. Okay, no problem. We got your we got your card. You know? We got your card. We got some hoping ass niggas around us. Yeah, hopium. Yeah, we got some hopium. We got some hopium ass. Yeah. We know what to do with you. You know what I'm talking about? Because you're not gonna fight back. You don't got no fight in you. You know, you fell for the okie doke. So let's continue to go down. Let's let a white boy talk to you.
I'm making this video to start a race war. I'm making this video because I think one of the biggest reasons this country keeps ripping itself apart is because people have forgotten how to listen to pain without making it about themselves. And from the outside looking in, something I've noticed over and over again is that a lot of black people are not asking to be worshipped. They're not asking for pity. They're not asking for special treatment. A lot of the time, most of the time, they're just trying to explain what life has felt like for them and their families. And somehow, the second those conversations start, everything turns into a debate. No listening, no understanding, no curiosity, a debate. Are you sure it was racism? Well, that happens to everybody. Just get over it. My family struggled too. You're playing victim. You're dividing people. That was a long time ago. Just work harder. And it's like, damn, can somebody speak about pain without immediately being cross-examined like they're in court? Because what I think a lot of people don't understand is that when somebody talks about racial trauma, discrimination, oppression, or generational and ancestral pain, they're usually not saying every white person is evil. They're talking about patterns, systems, history, environment, institutions, treatment, oppression. The psychological way of constantly feeling misunderstood, stereotyped, over-policed, unheard, or emotionally dismissed. And I feel like some people instantly get defensive because acknowledging somebody else's reality forces them to question the version of reality they were raised to believe. That discomfort is very real because if you grew up never experiencing certain things, it's easy to assume they barely exist. If you've never been followed around stores, never had teachers assume less of you before you even spoke, never felt pressure to code switch just to seem safe, never had your natural features mocked, never had people fear you before knowing you, never had generations of trauma sitting underneath your family structure, then of course certain conversations are going to sound exaggerated to you. And it's not because you're automatically a bad person. It's because human beings struggle to fully understand pain they've never personally had to carry. And honestly, the more I observe, the more I realize that's where I think a lot of the division comes from. People hear pain as accusation instead of communication. So instead of listening, they defend themselves. Instead of asking questions, they shut down. Instead of empathy, it becomes ego protection. It turns into just this debate, deflection, dismissiveness, rejection. And that's exhausting for people who already feel unheard. Imagine opening up about something painful and constantly being told, that didn't happen, it's not that bad, you're overreacting, you're too sensitive, you're the real racist for bringing it up. Do people realize how psychologically draining that is? To feel like you have to provide a PowerPoint presentation every time you talk about your own lived experience just to earn basic human understanding? And again, this is not about blaming all white people. There are plenty of white people who listen, care, empathize, educate themselves, and genuinely try to understand perspectives outside their own. But there's also a real consistent cultural issue where conversations about race immediately become centered around white discomfort instead of black pain. And that's the problem, because healing cannot happen if the people speaking about wounds are instantly forced to emotionally babysit the people listening. Sometimes people don't need a debate. They need humanity. They just need you to shut the fuck up and listen. And I think another uncomfortable truth people avoid talking about is how segregated a lot of society still still is, even now. Not always legally, but socially, economically, culturally, systemically, educationally. A lot of people grow up in environments where they barely have meaningful relationships with people outside their race, outside their neighborhood, outside their worldview, outside their environment, outside their culture. So they end up learning about black people through stereotypes, headlines, social media clips, political propaganda, music caricatures, agendas, false, racist, outdated narratives, crime statistics stripped of context, or internet outrage instead of actual human connection. And then people wonder why empathy is broken, why we're still divided, why there's so many racial issues in this country. You cannot fully understand somebody's humanity if your only exposure to them is through fear, stereotypes, or surface level interactions. That is conditioning. And I think what a lot of black people are truly asking for is not guilt, it's acknowledgement. That's it. Acknowledgement that history leaves scars, acknowledgement that systems can affect people differently, acknowledgement that generational trauma is 110% real, acknowledgement that discrimination did not magically disappear just because laws changed, acknowledgement that being constantly invalidated hurts. That's it. That's fucking it. You don't have to hate yourself to acknowledge somebody else's suffering. You don't have to personally experience an injury to believe somebody when they say they're bleeding. And honestly, I think this country would heal a lot faster if people stopped treating empathy like surrender. Listening does not erase you. Understanding somebody else's pain does not attack your identity. Acknowledging racism exists does not mean every white person is evil. And speaking about racial pain does not automatically mean somebody is spreading division. Sometimes people are just fucking tired, man. Tired of feeling unseen, dismissed, tired of explaining themselves, tired of carrying generations of pain while also being told that pain doesn't exist. And I think if more people had the emotional maturity to sit with uncomfortable truths without instantly becoming defensive, we would finally start having real conversations instead of rehearsed arguments. Because at the end of the day, this isn't even about politics. This is just about humanity. And humanity starts dying the second people care more about protecting their comfort than understanding somebody else's pain.
There you have it. You feel me? There you have it. Once again, why I say that white people, the ones that are qualified, should be the ones speaking to white people about the issues, right? The conversations that we want to have, right? The conversations that we would love to have with white people to help them sympathize with us. I got white fatigue. It won't be me. I won't be the one doing it. That's just not my position. I don't have the energy for it. I can articulate myself. I don't have an issue with communication and whatnot, but I would rather put more of my energy. I would rather put my energy, my passion into speaking to the hearts and minds of my people. I would elect individuals such as this man right here, the Brosy O'Donnells, right, and others to be the spokesman to speak to their people in our quote unquote, to represent our message and give it to them, right? So amongst the tribe, and it's to my feeling, it's, I feel that a person such as him, you don't know who's white passing this out here. Like, you don't know who has incarnated in a white body and whatnot to do the work against white folks, to dismantle, the myth of white folks, of even the word white, or even the race of what they call white. Our people have reincarnated and whatnot to come back to dismantle that. And there are people who are passing white. You think that they're white, but they're not. You know what I'm talking about? They're not. You'll be surprised. So it's like, we don't got to invite nobody to the barbecue, but we damn sure could utilize some representatives that can articulate what needs to be articulated, because it is a question about, they're winning the war against our people because of, they're winning the war of ideas and concepts sometimes. You know what I mean? They're winning the narrative war sometimes, only because we don't have the loudest microphone in the room, or we don't have the biggest stage sometimes to basically stand on. We're going up against billion-dollar corporations like Fox. We're going up against trillion-dollar media empires, conglomerates, my G. You feel me? So our message does not cut through the way that it would if we had those stages and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So everybody is not, quote unquote, this man was just talking common sense. He wasn't going super deep. He was just talking common sense. and he wasn't giving us, he wasn't trying to gaslight us. We have Europeans who come amongst us and they'll gaslight us with half truths. You understand? They'll tell us the truth of some shit and they'll trauma bond with us, but you could always pick up, you smell gas. Like, wait a minute, did somebody leave the stove on? Nigga, I smell gas. Like, what the fuck? Are you serious? Are you dumb? You think I'm dumb? Like, let's not do this, you know? So let us continue. Let's go to Brosy.
Making this video, calling out Earth Angels specifically, the ones who came here with too much love, too much discernment, too much light, and somehow still kept giving sacred access to people who were never qualified to touch it. Like, this is the pattern nobody talks about. When toxic people meet an Earth Angel, they do not always attack immediately. At first, they study you. They mirror you. They feed off your softness. They make you feel like they finally understand you. And once they have access, they start testing how much of your light they can distort before you notice. They confuse you. They call you dramatic. They provoke you, then judge your reaction. They drain you, then act like you're the one asking for too much. They take your forgiveness as permission, then punish you when your discernment finally wakes up. And this is where the pattern gets exposed. They were never trying to understand your heart. They were trying to find the part of you that still believed love meant unlimited access. Chosen ones, you know this feeling. Earth Angels know this feeling. You stay longer than you should because your soul can see who they could be, but your body keeps reacting to who they actually are. That stomach drop, that chest pressure, that sudden exhaustion after talking to them, that weird feeling like you have to shrink your light just so they don't turn it into an argument. That is not you being too sensitive. That is your system recognizing distortion before your mind can explain it. Comment, scroll below if your nervous system reacted before your mind did. Because this is the part that changes absolutely everything. When they try to break an Earth Angel, they think they are exposing weakness, but they are actually exposing their own inability to honor light. Their jealousy comes out, their control comes out, their dishonesty comes out, their need to dominate comes out, their lack of reverence comes out, because your presence pressures the hidden variable in them. And the more they try to make you look unstable, the more the pattern reveals who was feeding off your softness the entire time. But here's the identity fractured. Some of you are still calling it love because you survived it. Some of you are still calling it loyalty because you endured it. Some of you are still calling it forgiveness because you keep reopening the door. But that is not divine love. That is an expired contract. Earth Angel does not mean emotional sacrifice system. Earth Angel does not mean spiritual landfill. Earth Angel does not mean you keep explaining your light to people committed to misunderstanding it. Your divinity is not proven by how much pain you can tolerate. It is proven by whether you can stay uncorrupted after being mishandled. That is exactly why they could not destroy you. They only revealed the places where your access needed boundaries. Comment, scroll below if you know this pattern is yours, because your scroll scan is not information. It is the missing coordinates, the hidden architecture behind why certain people are pulled to your light, then try to punish you for having it. And the people who truly understand this instantly usually are not on their first timeline drowning.
I want to see Brosy and David Icke talk. I want to see a Brosy and David Icke interview. I might have to set that up. All right, so let's go down this rabbit hole, y'all. Let's go. We're gonna go into this. We're gonna go into the topic of today's show. Let us enter into this space. Let us go.
Boy was not killed over water. He was a systemic sacrifice to the narcissistic demon that they are feeding in order to dominate this dimension. I want y'all to understand what I mean by that. The program that lowers our frequency, emits these frequencies in the atmosphere, is also activating these militarized demonic frequencies within the body cells, specifically in the cells of the individuals who lack a soul. They are not housed by anything except this narcissistic code. The importance of the water is that water, everything is energy. But water, energy is consciousness, and water is the consciousness that we use to access the intellectual grid that we pull information from. Those star systems, everything in the cosmos that we are birthed from, we are projecting here from, all of that comes online once we reconnect with the consciousness that is also represented by water. And we know that water is feminine. So being killed over water is significant because that war that they're having over there symbolizes the spiritual warfare that is taking place outside of the Earth's atmosphere. That narcissistic system that is creating these realities of oppression, suppression, and all of those things is actively working to keep us from activating those cosmic codes within our DNA. Because once we wake that up, we will be able to take back over the program and reinvent it and create a new narrative. Now, that boy was killed over 4 bottles of water. Know that 4 numerologically expands into 22, which is the master builder, but you can also reduce it to the 13. That 13 is the divine mother frequency. This was a direct systemic attack in order to hijack our consciousness by hypervigilizing our nervous systems and thus for further separating us from doing the inner work. The reason why that is important is because the entity that shows up in this dimension as narcissism or the narcissist is a dark presence that they need to continue to feed, and they do that through these types of unalivings. The more they can activate our nervous system and make us more hypervigilant, the more they can puppeteer us into carrying out their mission. It's a form of energy harvesting, because once we fully activate that divine feminine frequency, then that mother.
She's talking about Cyrus. I started it out with the Cyrus ritual because the Cyrus ritual leads into the Carmelo Anthony ritual, which is going to lead into the other ritual, whatever ritual that's coming up, because this is 2020 all over again. They are literally, like she said, they are hijacking the nervous system of Black people. If you don't see it, then you might not really be looking at it from the same vantage point, right? No, she said that the boy got shot over 4 bottles of stolen water. She didn't say that he stole it. The accusation from Mr. Chow is that he stole 4 bottles of water, correct? Or is that not right? That's what was accused. He was accused of stealing waters and whatnot, even though we know that he didn't steal anything. And he was proven in court, in the court of law, that he did not steal, right? However, that is not a part of what the ritual. The ritual is the fact that they are hijacking Black people and they are energy harvesting Black people when Black people or melanated people were relatively unscathed by what was going on over the past few months. But as we creep into the Jason months, as we knock on Jason's door, Jason is in July, Jason starts in July, as we creep from Janice to Jason, magically, they got our people in the fucking bag now. Magically, they've managed to put a string around the neck of our people and whatnot, and they're about to play yo-yo and whatnot. Magically, now they got our attention. How did that happen? They didn't have our attention. And when I mean our attention, I mean that they could push a fucking button and get us going right now. They got a headlock on us. They got our attention, and our attention is an energetic headlock. They don't have it to whereas it's a George Floyd type of, or it's a Eric Gardner headlock. They don't have us where they have an Eric Gardner headlock on us or their knee on our neck, but the motherfucking rope is going around our people's neck. The arm is beginning to quote unquote tighten around the neck. Trust me. They got our people, bro. They are putting our people on a motherfucking hook like a goddamn fish with their mouth open. Trust me. All it's going to take is about 1 or 2 incidents and your ass is going to have a red summer. Trust me. That's what they're building up now. I remember Breonna Taylor. I remember the feeling of Ahmaud Arbery. I remember the threat level. I remember the color. I remember the temperature. And this is the same temperature. Trust me. This is the same temperature. They out there energy harvesting the fucking games, the finals, the NBA finals. They feeding off of that shit. They feeding off of the trauma going on in Texas. Remember, the Spurs is in Texas, and so is Carmelo. Let us go. Right? Carmelo was in Texas. Them niggas said that they got sundown towns in fucking Texas in 2020, whatever this is, nigga. You could say everything that you could say about New York. We don't got no motherfucking sundown towns. How about that? We don't got that shit going on. You could, we going through every neighborhood in New York, dragging our nuts. Like, you not gonna say nothing or do nothing to us. White, black, brown, green, yellow. No neighborhood in New York is gonna ban us from walking through there at night. We don't have that type of fear. We don't live in that type of reality. You know what I'm saying? But that shit is still going on in America, where they had our women and our men and parents and grandparents lying to these fucking kids, telling them, oh, everything is okay. It's no longer a problem. You lied to them, but you won't even admit that you fucking lied. You won't even admit that you lied to these children in their face because your ass, how did it go away and you didn't even put in no work? How did it go away and you didn't do anything to make it go away but voting for a nigga from Hawaii? What are we talking about? That's erroneous. That's a slap in the face to the people that died for this shit, bro.
Anthony case. This should not have come as a surprise for us. We should have been already ready. I think so. We should have been armed. We should have had leaders standing for him. I don't understand for the life of me why a white man is representing this young kid. I'm angry. I'm upset. I don't think it was right, but what am I saying? Everything that happens in America isn't right for the black woman or the black man. All-white jury, witness statements changing every so often. If you witness your brother get killed, you not taking the stand, and you think I'm gonna believe that? You telling me a grainy video is shown to jurors, but it was shown in 4K clear to the people that witnessed it? No witness on that stand had that little man's back. None, 0 out of 21 people being questioned. Come on, man, I'm done with all of that. I feel the same way about white people, the same way they feel about my people. Yeah.
She be going off. Sis be going off, man, with her orange hair. I'm starting to like her. Let's get more of her.
A grainy video is shown to jurors, but it was shown in 4K clear to the people that witnessed it. No witness on that stand had that little man's back. None, 0 out of 21 people being questioned. Come on, man, I'm done with all of that. I feel the same way about white people, the same way they feel about my people. Yeah, try one of us. Mm-hmm.
I mean, even just following the case, I know I just, we've all been kind of keeping up with it. And just to see even that the judge, the defense attorney, and Austin Metcalf's father was in, a picture at a party they having a time. There is an alleged post from Austin, from, of course, before he passed, that, he had 2 assault rifles on his, resting on himself in the car, saying that I dare one of the monkeys to come to this track meet today.
So basically, Carmelo Anthony killed a motherfucking Chud the Builder. Carmelo Anthony killed Chud the Builder. That's what I get from it. Okay.
But this is someone where, Carmelo Anthony was a 3.7 GPA student working 2 jobs. But he's the one that we're supposed to believe is a thug, though.
Right. Of course. Because that's how they see us. They want everything is good because it's white. And then when it comes to black, it's angry. It's violent.
So there's this picture that's going around where they're saying that his father knew the judge, but I believe it's been debunked.
Together. And now we have that proof. Look at this photo. This is a photo of Jeff Metcalf, John Roach, the judge, and Greg Willis, who is the DA. Conflict of interest, anyone?
So congratulations, Frisco, Texas is going to be the epicenter of what could possibly be a race war. This has received no national attention that a black kid with an all-white jury is going against friends, the father, the DA, and the judge. What's really going on? It's safe to say that Texas is holding a fine tradition of white supremacy. That even in self-defense, everyone knows everyone, and a black man killing a white boy, they're still going to work together to prove a point that black people are not to take the lives of white people even when it's called for. They do it all the time. So spread this video around. Let everyone know that a black kid defending himself from 4 ruly ass fucking teenagers who tried to jump him, because the video's out, everyone's seen it. An overwhelming amount of people are saying, hey, Austin was the aggressor. All of this shit is coming out. And now the father, the DA, and the judge are buddy-buddy? Bet. Okay, well, share this video. Power to the people.
I slay demons. I slay them to the ground. Dominique Alexander, you were wrong. We look at what happened to Carmelo. Carmelo's not from Texas. He's not from Collin County. We're from Dallas. We're from Collin County. We're from Texas. We know how these people play the game. Dominic, how did we get here? That boy had no way of winning in Collin County if he did not have his own people to represent him away from Collin County. It was no way that Toby Shook and his partner, the ex-DA of Collin County, a white lawyer from Collin County with a white judge from Collin County, a white jury from Collin County, a white prosecutor from Collin County, white teachers, white police, white principals, white coaches, white everybody in Collin County. It was no way Carmelo was going to win. Only way Carmelo would have stood a chance is he would have had his own representation. And the family did not know that. He originally had black representation by the name of Kim Cole, but you had a snake motherfucker from Dallas who know better, who has brainwashed the bottom feeders of Dallas that he's a pro-activist, but he's really a sellout. And he has sold out every black family that ever had a white case that he ever represented. He sells them out in the background. So how did we get here? From the beginning, the family was coerced into hiring white Collin County representations to represent this boy. That swallowed the whole case up whole. And now Dominique Alexander, the pro-black activist that everybody loves and looks up to, his mammy is in my inbox and on social media trying to fight me to create a distraction that her son sold out Carmelo Anthony, and I spoke out publicly on the shit that everybody talking about behind his back. I've never been a backstabber. I say it to your face. I'm more of a cutthroat type of woman. I claim my work. I said it. This is how we got here. Dominique Alexander sold this boy out. I'm done with it. Y'all, I said what I needed to say. Whoever don't like it, take it to your grave. Because I don't care. Ain't nobody ever been able to stop my mouth. I'm forever speak my truths. Thank you for everybody that stuck with me, stood with me, and continue to ride with the truth. And don't get caught up in the lies. Baby, you do not have to Google common sense when you just got it. A pig is not purple. A pig is not blue. It is pink. Use your head.
The reason why George Zimmerman and Rick Child felt that it was okay to murder black boys in their own communities is because they knew the black man wasn't going to do shit. And they were going to go to court and fight in a white supremacist society and win. And when they were going to be released from jail, they were going to go back to living their civilian lives as if nothing ever happened. George Zimmerman went so far as to try to profit off of the murder of Trayvon Martin. He sold signed bags of Skittles to mock his death. And he still walks around. Yet in between the time that George Zimmerman murdered Trayvon Martin to today, there have been thousands of black men killed by other black men across America.
Let's go.
The problem is that the men in the community that are raising these boys, And I don't mean they daddies. I mean the ones in the streets that are raising these young men. They're teaching them that their enemies look just like them instead of raising them to be real soldiers. Crash out on the right ones. Because guess what? Other communities, that's what they do. They round up the YNs of their community and train them to fight for them, not against them. We are in the land of our captors. Pay attention.
Y'all gonna have to wake up, man. You ain't gotta listen to me, but you gonna pay the price today or you gonna pay it tomorrow if you don't wake up and wake up fast.
You're already on death row and don't even know it.
Trying to kill us. I think that they trying to kill us. Make no mistake in the midst of all this fakeness, I'm the realest. I think they trying to kill us. I think that they trying.
Let us continue.
Out to Secret Service Sam. He has released this photo, which is allegedly a photo of the father of the victim in the Carmelo Anthony case, the district attorney, and the judge. If true, this is a huge issue. Previously, I served as an associate judge, and later on, I had cases in front of other judges. When I would have those cases in front of those other judges, every last one of those judges, sua sponte, meaning without motion, recuse themselves out of fairness. That's just what you do. Now, mind you, regarding those other judges, I had never been to their homes. It was nothing personal. We just knew each other socially. Some of us had run for judge together on the same ticket, but I didn't know their personal business. We had never even gone out to eat. This appears to be an intimate gathering of some sort. At a minimum, legally, you're supposed to disclose that to the other side and give the other side the option to file a motion for recusal, or the judge is supposed to sua sponte, meaning on their own motion, meaning even if no one asks, recuse themselves. So this is a huge issue.
So that picture has been debunked according to my sources. I just wanted to put that out there, you know what I mean? So we don't get caught up in pushing any narratives that is not going to assist us. I know that the young man filed an appeal today. I saw that come across my timeline. Carmelo Anthony, his team, they filed an appeal today. I will read the paperwork and see exactly what the grounds of the appeal are on, but it's not around this picture. Okay, it is not around this picture. However, we do know that these people, you know, they're part of a good old club. They're part of a society. It's not even a secret society. They are just aligned with one another. You know, let us go.
Following this Carmelo Anthony case, and it's always astounding to me how white America, MAGA especially, have the audacity, they have the nerve to say, oh, stop making it about race. Why does it have to always be about race? Because it is. Have you seen the history of the United States of America? Have you seen how we treat Black Americans, especially young Black males? Better yet, do you understand the good old boy system? Do you understand the good old boy system of Texas? Think about this. If Carmelo Anthony was a 135-pound white boy who went under a tent at a high school to get out of the rain, and then two 200-pound, 6-foot Black boys who were on the football team, looking like linebackers, came up to him and said, I need you to leave this tent. And if the white boy was scared and he didn't want to go out in the rain, and he says, no, I'm not leaving. And then the Black boys were to push that white boy, to lunge at him and start a fight with him. And then that white boy pulled out a knife and stabbed them 2 Black boys. Y'all would all be saying self-defense. We wouldn't even be having this conversation. You'd be in the comments, usual suspects. Them boys were chimping out to attack him like that. Let's be real. You'd be saying, oh, those were 2 silverback gorillas coming at that little poor white boy. And he was just trying to defend himself. 2 major elements, concepts of self-defense is imminent threat and use of force. Was there an imminent threat? Obviously. There were 2 200-pound football players to circle a 135-pound Black boy while he was sitting down. And not only did they threaten to beat his ass, but they started to try to beat his ass.
And the reality of America is that the vast majority of us, including myself, is that we'll never know the amount of fear that black people face and feel having to live in a society that was not built for them, that was not built by them, but it was actually built to destroy them.
Let me rephrase. Let me clean that up. We'll continue with him. No, a society that was stolen. A society that was stolen. Okay? And it was built on the backs. It was built on the graves. It was built on the mounds. It was built on the legacy to bury. It was built up to bury a greater civilization that even came before this quote unquote white civil. Let's just make that clear, because they always try to make it seem like they're building these things. No, nigga. No. This is a post-war society where y'all stole everything as a result of the war that was lost. Y'all ain't really built shit, to be honest with you. Y'all import everybody to build shit. Y'all didn't really build a goddamn thing. All of that shit that was built wasn't built by y'all. Y'all stole the patents and y'all hired slave labor and cheap labor to build the motherfucking railroads and all kind of shit. And a lot of those buildings were founded by y'all. Founded. You didn't build it. They make it seem like they built this country. Y'all robber barons who stole and killed and pillaged your way to what the fuck you think that you have. Yeah, get the white boy out of it. The video don't even want to play no more. Spirit is like, nah, pack him up. She said enough. Let's go to the next one, bang. Let's talk to Carmelo's parents.
Hold the fuck up. The word of the day is accountability. You mean to tell me Carmelo Anthony people raised over $700,000 on a GoFundMe and they sent this man on a platter into a Texas fucking courtroom with a public defender, a court-appointed We cooked as people. We cooked as people. How in the fuck could you see your son in court with a court? Now, I understand shit get rough and times get hard. But you raised over $700,000 and you went and bought a fucking house and a car and your son's life on the line? That shit is unacceptable. That shit is unacceptable. Okay, yeah, the fucking court system fucked us. But what about his fucking parents failing him, man? Come on, bruh. How y'all gonna send this man? This shit serious as fuck. You already know what it is, then you looking at the color of the skin. How could y'all, bruh?
Bruh. The fuck?
What was y'all for Carmelo Anthony? What was y'all? How we gonna do this, respectfully or disrespectfully? Because I cuss back. I'm talking about all y'all. Amanda Seals, Cornell X, Dr. what her name is, Candace. I got a whole list of y'all motherfuckers. Jamal Bryant with the Target boycott. What the fuck was y'all when it come down to him? I just want to know, because this what tells me is that y'all like the publicity. See, y'all like the motherfucking rush. See, y'all want to fight for when black people are done wrong. But y'all don't want to fight when black people is not wrong and they're protecting themselves. This is a young fucking boy who then literally lost his fucking life. Murder is the motherfucking case that they gave him. See, this is what I don't get. I don't give a fuck how much education y'all got. And Amanda Seals, you so controversial. So you mean to tell me you ain't staying up now? You ain't staying up to come to the forefront? I don't give a fuck how educated you is in history, baby. This is history right now. Where y'all at? It makes no sense to me. So when y'all holler about boycott what? Y'all didn't see the fucking play? Y'all was so busy caught up on Cyrus, we needed to be. But see, Carmelo Anthony wouldn't be needing a motherfucking rug. Because you know why? He didn't shoot a motherfucker down. He did what he had to do to get a motherfucker off him. So what was y'all? What was y'all? All right. I want to know. What was y'all? Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's boycott. Black people come together. Black people only come together when it's fucking convenient for them. Y'all should have pulled y'all education, y'all resources, y'all money together and helped him. Because we already know that his legal defense wasn't shit. We already know that they plotted against him. So the next time somebody tell me that I'm miseducated, I don't give a fuck about a degree. I don't give a fuck about my pronunciation. One thing I know, I'm a rider. I'm for what's right. I did the fucking boycott. You ain't gotta know what the fuck I did. I walked in this motherfucking street. I'm on the fucking news in St. Louis because I got out there and cut up. You can't silence me, but if y'all gonna fight for something, don't pick and choose. Fight all the way a fucking round. That little boy should be home with his family. These fake ass activists. Come on, Tamika. Black life matters. It only matters when somebody taking our life. But we ain't gonna fight for the freedom of black life. Let's get motherfucking Kim Kardashian in this bitch, if that's the situation. Fuck. Whew. That's what I wanted. Now I'm ready for whatever feedback. And I ain't going back and forth with none of y'all motherfuckers. I already know I stirred up the pot. I said what I said.
Sad day, sad day, sad day. But you know, I already knew what was gonna happen. When I seen Dominique Alexander walking that boy out the courthouse. When I seen Dominique Alexander had his hand in it, I helped him make some calls. Because I knew he had a black team to begin with. Then when I seen that his lawyer was Toby Shook. Y'all, Toby Shook has been a prosecution DA in Collin County, Texas for 20 years. He just stopped being the DA like 5 years ago. If you look at Collin County track record, Toby Shook has sent more black people to prison than anybody in the state of Texas. Now you telling me that he was gonna represent Carmelo Anthony fairly? Come on, y'all. They had all white cards lined up against him. They needed one more white card. And they needed a nigga to get the job done. It was Dominique Alexander when it convinced the family to hire the black legal team they originally had and hired Toby Shook, which was the ex-prosecutor for Collin County. Y'all think Dominique Alexander, if y'all really want to know why we here, it's a Dallas pro-black activist. The Black Action Network. Dominique Alexander went and coerced this family, who's not even from Texas, to hire an all-white legal team against an all-white judge, an all-white jury. Everybody against him white's gonna testify. All-white defense team, all-white legal team. He was the only black in there, and Dominique Alexander said, hey, go with an all-white lawyer. I'm your people. I'm pro-black. Black Action Network, whatever the fuck his network is, sell out, dick sucker, buy pussy with the money he got from Toby Shook at the big house in Oak Cliff. Nigga. Yeah, they always paint Scott to be the bad guy. Bitch. Because I stand on the truth. I guard the pearly gates. I'm a gatekeeper for the pearly gates. I'm saying who get in this motherfucker and who did not. Yeah, I'ma always stand on the truth. A lot of people like to live in a lie because the lie feels better. Until the truth of reality catch up like it did today. Scott be knowing what the fuck she talking about. I've been living in Collin County like I'm living right now for the last beautiful 25 years. And these crackers don't fuck with me. Because I already know I stand on my all-black shit at all times. I don't fuck with these crackers in no shape, form, or fashion. Pay my own money, pay my own motherfucking way. Don't ask them for a goddamn thing and they stay out my way. And I stay out of theirs. And if I do get in their motherfucking way, they already know, bitch, move out the motherfucking way. Big black sky coming through. Goddamn right. Somebody tried to jump me. Bitch, I'ma stab and knock your ass out with anything I got to. That was self-defense all day long. So what we have to do at this point, say, what do we do now, Sky? We get the money up, y'all. He get him a pill. We get him an all-black legal team. And crush the shit out these crumble they ass the fuck down to the ground. That's the only way justice will prevail for him. But yes, he got sentenced, found guilty, as well as 35 years. But I said he was gonna get life. Life is 35 years. Mandatory life sentence. He got 35 years. That's a life sentence. But we can get him out in 2. We push our flex out himself. We get him an all-black legal team that won't sell him out to Toby Shook. like Dominique Alexander did. What is he called? What told her? Dominique Alexander, y'all. That's the black guy that you see walking Carmelo Anthony out of jail. When Carmelo got out of jail, he had that gray suit on, that dude that's trying to rush him out of block. He's so Mr. Important, the one that's been a family spokesperson. He actually got a check for him to go over there and get the family to convince to hire the black attorney to get the white attorney, Toby Schuh, which was formerly the DA in Collin County for over 20 years, that has sent more black people to prison than anybody in the state of Texas, was the representation for Carmelo Anthony. Thanks to Dominique Alexander. Dominique Alexander, boy, you deserve a Medal of White Congressional Honor. You a fucking biggest sellout in the motherfucking world. The Anthony family went from Texas. They don't know how these fucking crackers roll and these honky tonks do. But you knew, didn't you, my God? You should feel like the man today. You fucking coward. You pussy. You need your teeth knocked down your motherfucking throat. Anybody that fuck with Dominique Alexander, don't come around here ever fuck with me. Rats run in packs. So do snakes, and so do roaches. Bottom feeders and parasites do too. I'm a real live gorilla in the motherfucking mist, bitch. Yeah.
Y'all done got the black mama started, man. Y'all done got the black mama started. They riding, man. You know what I mean? What can I say? I'm just a reporter. You know? I'm just here reporting the news. All right, let's go to one more news clip, and then we are going to move on.
Get out of here! Sentient plasma!
We're going to move on to...
Already pulled up to the game.
So these white people that are out here teach your kids to keep their motherfucking hands to themselves. We mind our business until y'all get in our fucking business. We don't show up to trouble. So these white people that are out here teaching.
It's a bar right there. I might have to snatch that for an intro.
Your kids to keep their motherfucking hands to themselves. We mind our business until y'all get in our fucking business. We don't show up to trouble. Y'all create trouble and we gotta get in fucking trouble. So leave us the fuck alone and we will leave y'all the fuck alone. Period.
All right, let's go to the game, y'all. Shout out to the good brother Carmelo. I know for sure that he is going to be safe inside of whatever facility he is in. I don't feel like he will be harmed at all. I actually saw that they put so much money on his books that it reached the limits, and they said that he can't receive any more money. I know that the brothers behind the wall, especially in Texas, will make sure that that boy is going to live a very comfortable time until his appeal is granted and he is able to come home. God don't like ugly, and them people over there in Texas that did him wrong is ugly as a motherfucker. So he gonna be all right. Let's just hold it up. You know what I mean? They can't hold a good man down. He's gonna be respected behind the wall. He don't got nothing to worry about. The white gangs can't do shit to him. Trust me. You know what I'm talking about? And the black gangs, they won't even bother the brother. They're gonna make sure that he has a comfortable time because they know that he was doing wrong and they were going to shield him. And yeah, that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Yeah, but let's go.
The official White House account is now calling Donald Trump the King of New York. Now, the White House refuses to post any video from Donald Trump's appearance at the New York Knicks game last night and will only post still images like this one. If you want to know why that is, well, it's because the so-called King of New York, when he was at the Knicks-Spurs Finals Game 3 last night, faced boos on the way to the stadium, faced boos at the stadium, and a number of heckling, and then faced boos as he was leaving the stadium. And now, hours after the New York Knicks lost their first game in weeks, the only game Trump attended, and Knicks fans are not happy with the President of the United States being in attendance and are even calling it the, quote, Trump curse. The White House is declaring Trump the King of New York. Spread the word. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, if you want to support my work, subscribe to my Substack at the link in my bio. Stay tuned.
Pulled up to the game just to fall asleep. Messed up the energy of the whole city, shut shit down, makes it inconvenient for everybody just for an ego trip. To get fucking relentlessly booed. Yeah, salute to you, dickhead. You just fall asleep. Hello, bro, grandpa, just stay home, my nigga. What the fuck? I seen this big bag bitch on my fucking TV. This fat slob. New York, we gotta do some vetting, son. There's certain celebrities that should not even be able to walk or enter the arena. He's a Miami Heat fan. And it's coming from somebody, I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm just from fucking New York. And I have eyes, ears, and a brain. I can see when things are off. Yesterday, everything looked off. I saw Howard Nutlick courtside, and I saw, yeah, what the fuck? We lost the plot here. This bitch should be in prison. He's the guy that brought his kids to a convicted pedophile's island. Convicted pedophile. He brought his kids. Got this fuckery going on, ruining the look of the city. This old dude that liked Tim Duncan, man. What we doing harassing him? This is not what real New York look like, son. And this is why we gotta take some notes from soccer, where you berate him, say, suck my dick, fuck you, but you never touch the opposite side's fans. They already going into enemy territory. They already stand on business wearing that jersey. And this how we treat them? It's like, nah, all these niggas should be banned. Everybody get the paws put on them. If I was a snitch, I'd be screenshotting and sending it into the fucking feds. But I'm not like that. But hopefully, karma come quick for y'all dickheads. Next, you need to focus on bringing real fans into this motherfucker. We get it. Every single person wants to go to this game. But you need to do some sort of raffle, or you need to be like, banning and reselling, where niggas cannot resell their ticket. I don't know how you gonna do that, but you need to do something. You should be the only celebrities in that building for fucking game 4, or at least courtside of you showing them. Timothy, he ain't new to this, he true to this. Spike, definition of he ain't new to this, he true to this. Same with Ben. Got Jay Woods, she dating Carl. All this shit, copacetic, makes sense. All those other motherfuckers, man, y'all throwing shit on. Knicks fans have something to blame the loss on, though. Just blame it on this dickhead. You know what I'm saying? That's the greatest thing about being a hater is like, you can look for anything to go wrong and put all the blame on that and be okay with that. And be like completely in your head that is logical. It's like, oh, nigga, we would have never lost if this dickhead just didn't come. Or he's like, oh, he's the president. He can do whatever he... Duh, I know that. But that was a selfish, egotistical, fucking weird move. This man has not been doing the game who knows how fucking long. No president has ever even attended an NBA Finals game. All of a sudden, he wanted to make this shit about himself. If he really was a fan, he was pulled up out the cut like peroxide and not made it a whole fucking spectacle. Like his best friend and buddy that is so obsessed with Barack Hussein Obama did. I'm just saying.
New York turned into Gotham City. Absolute chaos. From April 24th until last night, the Knicks had not lost. New York was a utopia. Everybody was talking about the watch parties, the videos, the celebrations, and then the Knicks lost, and everything turned to shit. There were brawls outside the Bryant Park watch party after the game ended. There were Knicks fans fighting Knicks fans. This guy found a bus sign on top of a pole and then attacked somebody with it. Spurs fans who were wearing Spurs jerseys were harassed on the streets. As you can see, this guy's a little bit older. They were calling him Unk. They call me Unk though, so I guess I am old. But yes, this video goes on for about 2 minutes. Then, yeah, this guy yelling, Spurs jersey, Spurs jersey. This guy seemingly minding his own business is walking down the street. And then they just attack him. They attack him and it turned into a fight. There was one streamer, and there may have been others, but there's one that I saw. This guy, Lenny Miller, showed up in a Spurs jersey and people attacked him. I think he was kind of looking for trouble, but the guy that I just showed you seemed like he was just a random fan. Bottles were thrown at the NYPD. There was a lot of vandalization as well. Street poles were getting torn down. Trees and bushes were being thrown all over the place. Outside of Bryant Park, where one of the watch parties was. Bryant Park's a really nice park in the middle of Manhattan.
Bryant Park is a... Listen. I did like 2 shows and I poured my heart out. And I was hoping that the nigga Wembley was watching. And I was just like, please, man, let us win. I mean, I send you some CMOS. I don't know, like what, but I was like, we need the W. You know what I mean? Like, just give us the win, man. and we'll make up for everything. Cause I knew it was gonna come with the L. You don't understand. I don't think people understand with this. Gotham City is it's a real fucking thing. They could either destroy that bitch or they could uplift it. I was pleading with them, but they didn't listen. So Donald Trump's energy, right? If Donald Trump wasn't there and the Knicks lost and they had like the MSG watch party, they wouldn't have descended into chaos. It wouldn't have went into Gotham, but because the Joker was in town and he has such a heavy demonic energy and whatnot, and of course he brought his band of quote unquote soups with him. Homelander brought the whole seven with him. That energy is very is very it affected people in a very negative way. You know what I'm talking about? It affected them in a very, very negative way. You know what I mean? So yeah, we'll see what happens tonight. But let us continue.
Manhattan near Grand Central Terminal. The response here is going to be, those aren't real Knicks fans. Those aren't actual Knicks fans. No, they are. We see the jerseys. Those are Knicks fans. And for everybody that poo-pooed all the security yesterday outside of MSG, they better get ready for it to continue. I would be surprised if there's any more watch parties as well. They may have to cancel those. I know the security won't be the same because of Trump, but they're going to block off MSG. The NYPD, New York, everybody knew this was a possibility. Everything was joyous, but all it takes is a few bad things to happen, and then boom, that joyous celebration turns into, you lose, and then people start fighting each other left and right. It's a chaotic situation that cannot be controlled.
It's a powder keg, and keep in mind, these are the same demographics of the Carmelo Anthonys that we're talking about. These are the black boys and girls, right? These are youth. The youth are pent up. They have pent up anger, pent up energy, pent up emotions. They explode. They want to tear shit down. They are going through aesthetic nihilism. They already feel like nobody cares about them based off of what the hell happened in 2020 when they were abandoned and left for dead and whatnot. They picked up on the dog whistles. They're like, yo, we on our own. That's when you saw New York descend into Gotham City and they start wilding out and whatnot, because and then subsequently a lot of other cities in America did the same thing, because those kids with them shiesty masks on, they picked up on the fact that they were on their own, and that the government failed them at that young age. The government failed them and basically was like, fend for yourself. There's a pandemic going on, fend for yourself. Henceforth, why so many of them got into the PPP scandals, so many of them was like, you know what, F it. If I got an answer for this later on in life, who cares? I might die this year over a cough. You know what I mean? So a lot of things we have to really understand what these children or these youth and whatnot, they need the W in order to basically, they've been traumatized. They've been running around with PTSD from drill music culture. They've been running around pent up with all of the anger because of the police brutalities and all of the things that they lived through and whatnot. Yeah, they don't have they're not gonna, don't be no baby boomer looking at them, oh, these are savages, they don't know how to express themselves. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't. They didn't grow up like you. Their version of expressing themselves is tearing shit down. They don't. They're not civilized. I'm here to let you know. They're not civilized. However, their energy could be used for better purposes.
Controlled by the NYPD, way too many people, and a lot of bad things can happen. It's really hard to tell the story without mentioning the rise in trying to go viral throughout the celebrations on TikTok, Instagram, but also, you can go viral without vandalizing your own city.
Shut up. Like I said, the government, they still fear the vandalize, because remember, The same way that they rose up in Argentina, the same way that they rose up in Ireland, is the same way that they could rise up in Harlem, the Bronx, and Brooklyn, and it don't got to have nothing to do with a damn game. How about that? So they're seeing glimpses of what that can look like, right? Just through the celebration of the sports and whatnot. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if if there's some type of manipulation taking place. But yeah, our people is outside cleaning shit up. Look.
New York Knicks fans are literally burning sage outside of Madison Square Garden ahead of tonight's critical Game 4 after Donald Trump visited Madison Square Garden for Game 3. They're getting rid of the Trump curse that essentially many blame for the reason that the Knicks lost earlier this week. The Knicks had won 13 games in a row, literally. And then Donald Trump came into town and, well, they didn't win anymore. And well, now many Knicks fans are saying the Trump curse is real. So they're burning sage in front of Madison Square Garden. This video is from Kazim Famoude. I may have pronounced his name wrong, and I apologize in advance for sure if I did that. Now we'll ultimately see whether or not the Knicks continue winning or losing, and whether or not the president's curse will come to bear. As always, spread the word. Full updates on my Substack, linked in bio. Subscribe for free. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
Are y'all familiar with Carmelo Anthony saving a child from drowning? I don't know if they brought that up in court, but do you know that he was a hero? He saved a 6-year-old from drowning, right? Now he got 35 years. That was him. He did that. You know, he did that. He was a hero. In my eyes, he still is a hero. Real quick, let's hold on.
Look, the team played horrible. The refs were awful, but something has to be said about the vibes. The vibes were not right. You could have had people go in the stadium easy, come out easy. Instead, it was impossible to get in. It was impossible to get out. You could have had 100,000 plus crazy rabid New Yorkers surround that building with their energy to get the vibes right. Instead, it was a graveyard around that stadium. Also, this man could attend. Wow. Wow. The first finals game in 30 years. And to accommodate Mr. Trump, you cleared the plaza, you cleared the watch party, you made it impossible to get in and out, and you had people sitting in there for 2 hours before tip-off. Wow.
Then let's go back to this Carmelo thing, and then we're going to pack it up for the day. All right, check it out.
Video get Jake Lang arrested?
Carmelo Anthony should be swinging from a tree outside this courthouse. Carmelo Anthony should be hanging from a tree.
So we made this video and went viral, and after this event, Jake Lang was arrested. According to Fox News, it says Jake Lang arrested in North Texas on terroristic threat charge. Fox 4 crews previously spotted Lang outside the Collin County Courthouse earlier that day, where protesters had gathered outside proceedings related to Carmelo Anthony in connection with the death of Austin Metcalf. His bail is at $1 million. He has so many events, so I'm pretty sure that his charges are a culmination of all of these different protests and all of the quote-unquote inciting of riots, etc. So I guess we'll see what happens, but this is why I tell you all to make sure that you support independent journalism. We'll keep you posted.
This is not a racial thing. I'm tired of pretending like that shit ain't happening. We're talking about Mexicans being rapists. We're talking about Mexicans being immigrants. We're talking about black. I am fed up. This is not a racial thing. I'm tired of pretending like that shit ain't happening. We're talking about Mexicans being rapists. We're talking about Mexicans being immigrants. We're talking about black people robbing and stealing and killing each other. But ain't nobody talking about white people fucking children. And it's overwhelmingly. I'm fucking tired, bro. I'm hurt. I'm fed up. That's all it is. Why are we pretending like this shit's okay? They have this domination thing, bro. They feel like equality is the end of their domination. They don't feel, they're weak men. They don't feel powerful unless people are suffering, unless women are under them. And that's the same, that's why those people go after those children. It's got nothing to do with being horny. Why men rape had nothing to do with being horny. They get horny from the idea of rape. It's the rape
that makes them horny. It's the idea that they can do this to a child that turns them on. It's the power dynamic. They're weak fucking men. That's why they become elitists. That's why they become these ultra billionaires, because then they can do what the fuck they want and pay people off and fuck with these kids. And nobody's saying anything. And for all you bitch ass motherfuckers, if you got over 100,000 followers and you ain't said nothing, I don't give a fuck who you are. If you ain't said nothing about what's going on today, you're a piece of fucking shit.
All the racists on here who love to talk about black and brown predators or the dangers of undocumented folks, can you please explain why nearly 80% of the people who produce, distribute, or possess child SA material are white men, and almost all of them are U.S. citizens? And by the way, you can check that data for yourself. So you see this? This is the U.S. Sentencing Commission's interactive data analyzer, which is a nifty little tool that lets you look up stats on any federal crime category overall, and then you can break it down by race. And then you can calculate the percentage of that crime done by each racial group for every year going all the way back to 2015, or you can do it for a range of years. So I did that for child SA material prosecutions from 2015 all the way through 2025. And it turns out that 78% of those prosecutions were of white men, almost 8 out of 10, while only 6% were of black men. You know, that group that y'all racists say is the most dangerous and awful group out there? So what the hell is it about white men that explains this? I mean, after all, for other crimes, everybody's got a theory to explain it, right? For typical street-level violent or property crimes, both the left and the right have theories. We on the left say socioeconomic factors can explain them. The right says it's culture, maybe even biology. But my point is, everybody has a theory. And yet, when it's white dudes that predominate disproportionately in some category of misdeeds like child SA material or child sexual exploitation, also about 71% of those are white folks, according to a DOJ report released in January of this year, or spree killing or mass school shooting, suddenly nobody has an analysis at all. Apparently, we just treat that shit like some inexplicable individual pathology, or we write it off to mental illness or video games or some shit. We never blame it on white culture. We never blame it on whiteness. We never blame it on white DNA. We never ask what's wrong with the white family. We do that about the black family all the time. We say, where are the black dads? We never ask where the white dads are. What's wrong with white fathers? Well, apparently some of them, some of the white dads and some of the white uncles are online looking at the child SA material. That's the problem. If we were actually a country that cared about actual predators, particularly the ones who threaten children, if we were actually worried about danger, we'd be asking this question about why white people and white men in particular are so predominant in this category of dangerous criminal offending. But we're not that country. We just want to racialize danger and crime. We don't actually want to protect people from harm.
And there you have it. I'm going to land my plane with that, right? Our children are in danger. And there is an accomplice, right? Not to say that all white people are dangerous to our children. Not to say that black men are not dangerous to black children. Not to say that black women aren't either. But there is the facts and then there's the fictions. You feel me? There is the facts, there's the numbers that don't lie, okay? And there's the reality that all of us have that has been given to us through the media, through the press, and things of that nature. You know, we're going to have to do a part 3. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have to do a part 3 because we got to get to the bottom of this conspiracy and come up with some ways that we could counter the conspiracy. You feel me? We want to counter the conspiracy. What we can do right now as parents is to be a little more vigilant. You know what I'm saying? If we were already vigilant, we just might have to turn it up a notch or two. You feel me? We got to pour into our children, though. We don't have to live our lives like we behind enemy lines in fear. That is not the message that I'm promoting. I'm more so speaking about, you know, a more vigilant spirit, you know what I mean, to cover them with. They need to get covered with a more vigilant spirit and whatnot. But we do need to be honest with them about the realities of this world that we're living in right now. You feel me? We don't want to create racial divides or any type of things of that nature, but we do have to be honest with them. We are not in a post-racial society. We are not in Obama's dream, or nor are we in his hope. That shit has to be reevaluated, and we need justice. You feel me? We need some forms of justice spiritually and in this quote unquote physical realm. So yes, we will continue this conversation and we will be back to bring that. All right. I do want to leave on this note, ladies and gentlemen, that today at 8 o'clock, me and the good brother Hitsayu Aku, we're going to be giving an empowering workshop. All right. All solutions, no problems. All signal and no noise and whatnot. We're going to be doing the Get Money workshop. Shout out to all of my KTLians who already signed up and been in the building. We already did the orientation last Wednesday, every Wednesday, 8 o'clock on Zoom. This is available to my top Patreons, my 72 Clause members, and also my Imaginarium paid members, of course. You know what I mean? Membership has its privileges. So we'll see you at 8 o'clock. Me and the good brothers coming together to break down GitHub and all of the opportunities that lie with GitHub. I don't know all of my techies. I know that you tapped in with Mythos and Fable 5 from Claude, the most powerful AI system on the planet right now. It was made available yesterday. So I've been tapping in. I've been breaking through, having breakthroughs and doing some powerful things with these tools and whatnot. So yeah, may the saga continue. May the saga continue. I will see you all. The QR code right there for the Get Money. If you want to be in the building with us tonight and tap in and get some power, because that's the only thing that's going to alleviate what's going on right now. We need some more power. The power that we have, or the power that we profess to have, it's not enough. It's time to power up. We got to protect ourselves with the power that we can accumulate right now. And that power is going to come in the form of camaraderie, right? The power's in the people, of course. It starts with the people. It does not start with no goddamn money and whatnot. It starts with the people and the spirit of the people. And it's going to start with our consciousness, something that we have to rise. We got to rise our frequency. We have to rise our consciousness. Our consciousness is going to change our perception of the world. Our perception of the world, once it changes, our reality changes. Once our reality changes, then things begin to shift to the better. All right. The reason why a lot of our people collectively are going through a shitty ass situation is because of the spell that they put on our people, and our people have an agreed upon reality where they're the victims, where they are quote unquote downtrodden, right? Where they're being held back, right? And where they are quote unquote in a weaker state. If the link is expired, just go to the Patreon. You could click on the QR code and you could sign up to either the Rainbow Opal or the quote unquote Citrine membership. And that will also grant you access. All right. That will also grant you access as well as a Cash App. But we got you. Okay. No fret. You can hit the Cash App. The tickets are $99 a class, $444 for the entire workshop. All right. Shout out to the good brother Hitsayu, and promise you, we are over delivering. Okay. We are over delivering. Shout out to all of the KTLians that showed up last Wednesday and got that work. So with that being said, peace, love, and light until we meet up tomorrow, Third Eye Thursdays. We will see you in the building. And yeah, man, let's go Knicks. That part. You know what I'm talking about? And yes, let's go ahead and let's pull up the Theta Waves. Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Peace, love, and light. We'll see you tomorrow.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept the storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree in the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, they're scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Best.